the item that we referred to committee earlier, the 79, I'm sorry, the
Subordination.
No, it was the communication from attorney Eli Leno of Bernstein Shore on behalf of his client Grand Central Suites LLC, requesting approval of a subordination of the city's lien on insurance proceeds in connection with the redevelopment project. The conversation that the board had was that we didn't have enough information. Director Nazaka informed me that she and Solicitor Rice are comfortable answering questions.
I'll make a motion that we pull it off the table or not send it to CIP.
We can still send it to the committee if we want to, if we don't get the answers we want, but we can discuss it now.
We don't have a meeting for a month, so
Right.
this may be
Okay.
important.
So we have a motion by Chairman Lavasser, a second by Alderman Barry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Director Nazaka, please come forward.
This was so important, it should have been figured out sooner than a one-page item on our agenda.
It should have went to committee in the first
Right.
place.
So I'm not sure I'm following why it needs to go to committee. This similar request has come before the board last year for 215 Canal, and it went to the full board, and at that time it was Attorney Susan Brunel that answered questions directly to the board about that situation.
9 times out of 10, these things go to committee as they should. I don't know why it didn't go to committee to begin with.
Well, I think she's saying there's a historical precedent for her this to come
For
directly.
one thing, slip through, all right, well, it shouldn't have, but 2 wrongs don't make a right. I mean, this should have gone to committee, no question. Slam dunk, should have gone to committee.
Which committee?
Well, so we have a motion to ask the questions. If folks had questions, please direct them to Director Nazaka. Alderwoman Farrar.
Thank you. So what I was going to ask before, I guess it caught my attention that the property is changing hands and that at this stage, and I'm curious if you could speak to that. That doesn't feel typical to me. I guess I was a little surprised to hear it. And then also just the fact that there is the 79E involved. How does that transfer affect going from one holder to the next?
Absolutely. If you're comfortable, the applicant's attorney or the buyer's attorney is here. But we have seen this happen before. Like I mentioned last year, we saw one very similar. And so what happens when we have a 79E? The state requires, and in the city's best interest, a declaration of covenants that's put on the property. So basically the city's protecting its interest, making sure that if you're saying that we're allowing a tax incentive, that the city wants to make sure the project is being done as it was described. So basically, there's a lien on the property that the city has. There is now several liens, and I'll let the attorney speak more eloquently to that, and the property is being transferred. So there are several liens that our essential covenants is before these liens, and in order for the transfer to happen, we need to basically shift that. So our covenant would still remain active. And I don't know if you want the attorney.
Can I just ask a quick clarifying follow-up? So the subordination would be for, what is our fee, the tax credit, like they haven't paid? I guess I'm unclear what what we won't be getting paid for.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the board. My name is Eli Leno. I'm an attorney. Am I on?
Okay, talk a little louder, please.
Sorry, Jody. Thank you. Try that again. My name is Eli Leno. I'm an attorney with Bernstein Shore representing Grand Central Suites. Your question at the beginning about the transfer here is that we're bringing on new equity investors as well as refinancing the project to fund completion of this. So members of the same group that own it currently in the current Grand Central Suites LLC will remain. But yes, this is a way to finance completion of this building. And as part of this loan, title report run on this is that there are various liens, including the lien to the city, which through the covenant, recorded covenant is the grantor grants the city a lien upon the proceeds of any casualty insurance policy to ensure the restoration, rebuilding, and or demolition of the premises occurs in a timely manner. The lien granted herein shall expire upon the 5th anniversary of the issuance of the above referenced unconditional certificate of occupancy. So your lien takes place in the event that there's a casualty at the building pursuant to RSA 79E Section 8, and it only comes into place as basically leverage for the city should, in the event of a casualty, which again has not occurred, the owners are not rebuilding this in a timely manner. So the level of risk there is, it's not like you loaned in first position and now I'm asking you to subordinate to this. It's in the event something that we hope doesn't happen happens, and then my clients don't rebuild quickly enough, then the city has this leverage through the lien and the covenant by statute.
Alderman Sapienza?
So if I can just recap here. Your clients came in here, asked for a 79E tax break. That tax break was contingent on this lien. This lien came with the package.
It did?
And now you're offering to give back the tax break?
No, that's not, so
So is it, you said no?
it's not our intention certainly to give back this tax break, which is under 79E, is the community revitalization.
I know what it
tax
is,
break.
yes, right. So the thing is, you came in here asking for a tax break. There was some conditions to it. You accepted the tax break with the conditions. Now you don't like the conditions. That sum it up pretty good?
I don't necessarily agree with that posture on this, because this is a possibility that the goal of this statute
Thank
is
you.
community
Thank you.
revitalization. We have the opportunity to do good in downtown Manchester, blocks away from here, and no lender, which is what was told last year by Suzanne Brunel at Divine Millimet, saying the same thing I'm saying now, is that no institutional lender is going to lend into second place. And this is not that the city lent money for us to buy and build this project. This is that you have this contingent relief for something that, again, I pray that there is not a casualty that requires insurance proceeds and my client to timely rebuild. But this is based on $333,000, which is not small money, and we certainly appreciate.
I've got my answer.
We certainly appreciate the relief here, but to be able to finish this project and build this great building, 8 stories of housing in downtown Manchester with first floor commercial, this is a necessity.
I
Just
just
to
want
clar-
to be
sorry.
clear that the covenant, the restriction is not going away. They're just asking to change the position so they can pay off a couple of liens that are on the deed right now.
Not even a couple of liens. We're paying off liens at closing of this refinance. It's the only thing that won't be cleared here as part of this transaction is the city's covenant, which we'd ask to move from priority position 1 to second to the lender's funds.
And what you mentioned was that this was a similar item that the board took up last year and we passed.
Correct, at 215 Canal Street, the York's Harpoon project.
Okay. Alderman O'Neill.
Counselor, are some of the liens currently by subcontractors who haven't been paid?
Yes,
So, you know, and this new ownership group is still part of the old ownership group is part of the new ownership group.
there is overlap.
So
in
we're almost saying, okay, it's okay you didn't pay your subs, and I've heard it's significant amount of money to some quality subs locally, but we're gonna let you redo this. We don't know if all those subs getting paid if this gets refinanced?
Absolutely, because otherwise, to the same point, if any of those liens remain on and then we record a mortgage, it would be behind all of the existing liens. Certainly, we're not going to ask a subcontractor to subordinate to this. We are paying them off as part of the funds of closing, which is why we brought on new equity and this loan. It's an opportunity to bring the ledger current with all of these subs and finish this good project for the city.
With all due respect, we didn't have these problems at Canal Street where major subs were not getting paid. This project, there is something wrong with it. Subs are not getting paid. And I just think we're playing into the hands of subs still not getting paid. It's the same players with other investors now. I can't support this. And it's not the same as Canal Street. I don't want to.
Alderman Morgan.
Just to follow up with Alderman O'Neill, are any of these IRS liens?
No,
So nothing with IRS?
no.
Okay.
Alderwoman Fajardo.
I'm hearing you say they will get paid. Is there something written, documented, guaranteed that this board can rest assured that there won't be any,
As
fancy moves to make it so that any profit coming out of the, or not profit, but any money coming out of the refinance ends up back in the investor's pocket versus those who.
the first tranche of refinancing this is that all of these lien holders need to be paid off. Otherwise, the new lender puts their money out and doesn't have assurance that they're in first position.
Yeah.
So we're building the settlement statement right now to close this. One of the pieces of closing this is receiving this board's approval
Yeah.
for this subordination.
So, and to clarify, this isn't money that we're not getting, it's money that is just set aside if they were ever to run into a scenario where it would need to be paid out. So it's not like we are otherwise putting more money out, it's just that we're stepping aside so that the contractors can get paid. And where will we fall in the new arrangement?
Yeah, second.
Okay.
So it would be to the lender, and then you would subordinate to them. There's a sheet in your packet showing the proposed subordination agreement, one-page document based on the form that was used in the transaction last summer.
I'm willing to support this because I feel like this project is essential, it's close, but I will say this, I want to be fully assured that the people who have been putting the work in at the site get what they have earned.
And you can confirm that they are going to be paid.
Yes, the subs will be paid. That is, again, we're here discussing loan priority, and that is something that the lender can't be behind these subs. The only way to do that is either subordinations, which they're not going to give because they're owed money, so therefore you pay them all off as part of the proceeds of the loan.
Said Alderman Cantor and then Alderman Long. Did you have something, Joe? Okay, I'll come around here, Alderman Cantor and then Alderman Long, and I'll come back.
Yes, I can't support this. Not to pay people is just unacceptable.
You are paying individuals, correct?
This is how we are behind, admittedly, through taking on new investors and this loan. This is our ability. This project fails without this money. With this money, all these subs get paid and brought back up. We end up back on the critical path. We finish this project. We build what's becoming a very good-looking building in downtown Manchester.
So with
It's
this vote,
that
folks
simple.
will get paid.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alderman Long?
Thank you, Your Honor. Jody, how many years did we give the 79E for?
3.
It was for 3 years?
Yep, it's 3 at the time of CO, so it doesn't kick in until they get their final CO.
No, correct. So what's to assure us that this refinancing doesn't have to happen again?
It's a very fair question. The understanding here is this is the money, this is someone that's, a lender that's vetted this and that this project can work. The due diligence has been done here. Something would have to go catastrophically for this not to.
Right. Yeah, and being involved in construction for 30-something years, I've heard contractors promise forever to pay somebody what they're owed. And that, it doesn't always happen, and that's my concern. That's why I'm not in favor of this.
And this, with the new construction financing, I'm not sure how familiar you all are with this, but as part of it, so this first tranche of money will go out, pay off all these liens, so the contractors will be brought up for what they've done before. Then the lender asks for lien waivers so that there's nobody else out there. They have a full list of contractors and they say, we sign a lien waiver because you get paid. So those are in escrow pending the closing. And then further disbursements, because of having a lender on this, they go in and they inspect. So if you say we built $100,000 worth of light switches or whatever in the building, before the disbursement comes, this independent inspector comes, reviews, says, yes, there's this many light switches, they're in place, they work, they're approved, we have a sign off from the city. Disbursement goes out and that's paid by the lender. So the next set of funds goes to continue paying these contractors.
Chairman Lavasser and then Alderman Terrio.
Is this under foreclosure right now, or no?
No.
So the owner, the original owner that started the build is still going to be the owner?
He will be, as part of a group, bringing on new equity investors.
All right, so he's building, is construction still ongoing daily?
I am not sure.
Okay, so the city's not going to be left with some big empty building. Are the taxes being paid currently?
Yes, and if.
They're up to date?
Yes, and your covenant there is that if this is left in its position right here, that's a situation where your lien comes into play.
Okay. So, you're not sure if there's construction going on. Do you know how much of it is done? Are we at 50% or?
I unfortunately don't know the answer to that, I'm sorry.
Okay. But it's not in bankruptcy, his company's not in bankruptcy?
No,
All right. And there's no, are you comfortable, or do you represent him himself, or his company?
I represent the entities. I certainly talk to the principal daily on this project.
So this new group that's coming on, they don't have to be approved by the new group that's coming in under here? Are they a brand-new group of people that would, I guess they still could benefit from the 79E then, right? For another year and a half or so?
Well, once the CO, that's when the tax benefits come, but.
How long before this will be wrapped up if we voted on this tonight?
So we are in sort of the final push to close this thing, which has been including, I've spent my last week and a half negotiating the final payments with the various subcontractors who say, we're owed this, here's what you need to clear the lien, getting the lien releases, which is the document that gets recorded, put into escrow agreements.
But they won't get paid until we vote. So our next
This is
meeting is not till July, so tonight, if we vote, they'll get paid faster.
Yes.
All right, appreciate that, thank you.
Alderman Terry, if you don't mind, the solicitor has something to add for right now, and then go to you.
Thank you. So as I understand it, there's financing in place. The city is in second position behind that mortgagee, correct?
If you subordinate.
Right.
Right now, you're in first.
Okay. And then this is simply you're changing lenders or you're changing financing, and we're basically moving to second position?
Right, because as Suzanne Brunel said last summer, no lender is going to disperse these funds in second position. And I think that holds true. I would repeat what she said last summer.
And as part of the closing, if you close with this new lender, this new financing, the workers are going to be paid first, essentially.
Yeah, the subs need to be brought current. Otherwise, they're not going to release their liens. Their mechanics liens aren't going to get released without being paid.
And then what happens if we don't subordinate and you don't get the financing?
Right.
What happens?
Well, what happens? No one gets paid. So if we don't support this, no one gets paid.
My client doesn't have the money in this new investment group to continue.
Okay. Alderman Terry?
Thank you, Your Honor. So, Jody, you mentioned earlier, I think the attorney also mentioned, after the project's done, the 79E is good for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
When did the work start on this project?
Oh, gosh, I would say probably 2022 is when the building came
So
down.
it's been 3 years. In what,
Are you sure it's been that long?
From time of demo, it's probably been around 2022 because the proposal to get the 79E was when I took my position as Economic Development Director. That was in 2022.
about 3 years ago?
And it was before the board had changed the rules. 5 years was the maximum. So the board had voted not to give the full 5 and go with 3 because after the third year, they were starting to see some return on revenues.
What was the initial projection as far as the length of works? 3 years seems like a long time.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
So covenant was recorded in August of 2023 and work would have started.
They were
sometime
delayed in
after that.
recording their covenant,
So
though.
it's been almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And we're still not done. Here's my concern. I'm going to vote for this because it seems like it's dead in the water if we don't. But I guess we need to vet people better because if somebody says they're going to do something and build something and then they run out of money, so it sounds like this person went into it or this entity and they didn't have enough money to actually do the project. If they're not paying, people aren't being paid, they will be paid if they get a loan, and they have to bring more investors in to finish this. So it's not your fault, but their plan obviously was substandard if they didn't have enough capital and the ability to complete this project in 2 years. So I am going to vote for this, but that is concerning that they weren't able to finish without this major disruption. All right, thank you.
We do, during the 79E process, we do ask for a pro forma, so we do ask for all of their financial information and what their estimates are, and for them to submit their proposals and cost estimates. This building in particular, I'm not making any excuses for this builder, but this building is a steel frame, which is significantly more expensive than a wood frame building. I don't know if that had anything to do with the extra costs or the overages, but I know that is very unique. We don't often see a lot of steel frame buildings being built in downtown Manchester.
Alderman Barry?
Thanks, Your Honor. I actually have two things. The, as far as the subcontractors go, is the agreement to pay them in full?
Yes, because again, I say that without equivocation, but the answer is that we have agreed through a good through date. So just because you have to pick a number through, they're still working, they're still doing requisitions, but they'll sign a lien waiver and a release good through a certain date, which I believe is through the end of March. And then the rest of the work is just, will be on the draw system that I discussed earlier.
So what they're owed, they're going to be paid in full?
Yes.
Okay, good. The other one, probably for Jody, is the original developer, does he have any other projects in Manchester?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, good.
Nothing active at the moment.
That's good. Thank you.
Alderman O'Neill, did you have?
Yeah, the attorney says they're going to get paid. We vote for this tonight. We have no assurance those contractors are going to get paid, other than his word. No. What?
Do we make the 79E contingent upon all their contractors being paid? So you're going to get your 79E only if you pay all your bills. Can we do that?
I would probably refer to Solicitor Rice.
Entered into an
It is my understanding from when we met with Solicitor Chiesa that there's liens on the current mortgage. So it's my understanding that they'd be required, in order to move forward, they'd have to pay those contractors because there's actually legal liens on their mortgage. So I don't think there's any way
Say that
they-
again, Jody, I couldn't
That's
really
correct.
hear you.
There's liens on the current mortgage, so in order for them to actually complete the closing, they legally have to pay the contractors.
The assurance is the law.
Yeah. Court
All right.
ordered.
Is there something we can get confidentially that shows from those contractors that they've been paid? We're not talking $5,000 here. I hear on the streets, it's significant amount of money. Some of them are Manchester-based contractors employing Manchester people that have not been paid. It's a big number. I really don't understand how this 79E is, I'm not a lawyer, how this is going to change them getting paid.
I mean,
It's
to
a
be
bit-
honest with you, I
I'd love to, do you, anybody know the number that's owed all the subcontractors?
I think the 79E might be protecting some of
Saving
these
there.
contractors in this situation.
I understand. Anybody know what that number is? How much they're owed?
I'll defer to the attorney for that.
One of the things you said, if there's a way to do this confidentially, to do you one better on this, is that these liens are each recorded, they're public record in the registry, so they can all be looked up and added up, and then
If that's the
additionally,
case, why can't you say it now then?
each of the releases will also be public, so once they've been paid, we're hoping to get this done as soon as next week.
So if that's what you said was accurate, why, can you state how much the liens are then, if it's public record?
I don't have the number in front of me, I'm sorry.
You worked on it for a week and a half?
I'm not-
Day and night, and you don't have the number?
I'm not closing counsel, I'm permitting counsel on this project.
No, but you just negotiated them. You just told us that.
But everything will be public record next week, that everything has been paid, because the liens would be removed.
Yes, if we
So if
need
the liens are not
releases.
removed, you haven't paid them.
Correct.
Your Honor,
So we'll know
motion
next
to
week.
approve
Yeah.
this number 19.
Yeah, so motion approved by Chairman Lavasser. Do we have a second? Second. Alderwoman Fajardo. All those
Ask for a roll call, Your Honor.
roll call.
Won't get paid if you don't do it.
Alderman O'Neill?
No.
Alderman Lavasser?
Yes.
Alderman Terrio?
Yes.
Alderman Sapienza?
No.
Alderman Burkish? Alderman Barry? Alderman Vincent?
Yes.
Alderman Thomas? Alderman Morgan?
No.
Alderman Goonan?
Yes.
Alderman Long?
No.
Alderman Fajardo?
Yes.
Alderman Sapienza?
No.
Alderman Cantor?
No.
Motion passes 8-6.
Thank you all for your consideration.
Thank you.